Our topic today is IBM TRIRIGA and Maximo. I'm joined by Lisa Barclay, TRIRIGA Product Management Leader at IBM, and David Gasdia, Program Director for the Maximo Product Management at IBM. Lisa and Dave, thank you very much for joining the podcast today.
Hey, good afternoon, Tracy.
Thanks,
Glad to
Tracy.
be here.
Thanks, Tracy. Great to be here with you.
Yeah, it's a really good topic we're going to talk about today. You know, when we look at real estate solutions, we look at facilities management, asset management. The name that's constantly in the lead on any Magic Quadrant, anywhere you look at ratings, is IBM, and specifically IBM TRIRIGA and IBM Maximo. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that. Lisa, can you maybe give us a little bit of an overview of TRIRIGA?
Yeah, of course. So Tryriga, as you know, is a market-leading integrated workplace management solution, which gives you a suite of capabilities that meet the demands of managing buildings and other corporate or real estate assets in a way that encourages, optimal use of space, cost savings, and an elevated occupant experience. It can effectively manage real estate from the onboarding of the space to the use and management of it to the disposal of the space. And Tryriga helps you get the most out of your space, helping you respond quickly to disruptions and improving the employee experience with user-friendly applications that are accessible when you need them. This includes everything from real-time occupancy insights, dynamic space planning, real-time occupancy monitoring, room reservations, a conversational AI assistant, move management, and wayfinding. It also can streamline lease administration and accounting, help you maximize your facility operations and maintenance efficiency, and improve your project cycle times, eliminate budget overruns, and remove bottlenecks and analyze project risks to improve your project planning.
So TRIRIGA is fascinating to me from that standpoint because it's a very wide product. It really has, we talk about the 5 pillars of TRIRIGA. We look at really portfolio planning. What do we want to do with real estate? We go through that transaction process and all the different components of site identification. Do we want to acquire it? Do we want to lease it? Are we going to buy something and renovate it? What we want to do there? Then we have to the lease management side, especially with all the changes to lease accounting that the TRIRIGA supports. Once we have that site, then often we'll use the TRIRIGA pillar for capital projects. We may have to renovate. Maybe we're building a new location. And of course, we have to manage that space and get the most value for our space once we have it. And as you were saying, you've got to maintain that space. You've got to keep your buildings, your facilities in top condition. And one of the pieces I think that's really coming into more prominence these days now, of course, is the sustainability piece. That TRIRIGA, we call it TREES, the TRIRIGA Real Estate Sustainability functionality that really takes us through this whole life cycle. We've got the building, and then at some point we have a disposition project that gets rid of the building. Maybe that's 10, 20, 30 years from now, but TRIRIGA runs that building from the time you're even thinking about something until you're done with it. It's a really big product. But along those lines, though, because of all that functionality, there's a lot of point solutions out there that say, well, we can do capital projects best, or we can do lease management best, or we can do just sustainability, rather than a product like TRIRIGA that covers it all. Why should a company use a product like TRIRIGA?
Yeah, and I think the challenge is that point solutions are just that. They handle a single domain of real estate and facility management only. If you want to implement a complete solution to handle the complex building life cycle that you just described, there's a lot of work and subsequently cost required to integrate the point solutions, which don't often play very well together. Plus, then you're dealing with multiple vendors with different licensing and contracting and support models and version timelines and so on. TRIRIGA's strength lies in the integration of the real estate and facility data and processes in the one system with a common platform and shared data, and the ability to automate processes across all the domains throughout that complex building lifecycle. This eliminates, a lot of the integration costs and the risks of those integrations breaking. And then we've really doubled down on this complete solution model with the recent introduction of the Tryriga application suite, which will unite all of the Tryriga capabilities into a single suite with a simplified licensing model, as well as supporting hybrid cloud deployments via the containerization on Red Hat OpenShift. So why would you want to enter your information about your real estate, your facilities, and your spaces into multiple systems when you can just do that once with Tryriga and use the data across the room reservations and space management, project management, maintenance and operations, and lease administration and accounting?
Yeah, the Tryriga portfolio certainly is very powerful. The people, places, and things, as we've called it for a long time with Tryriga, it's a foundational data that you build across the other pieces of the Tryriga product. I mean, you can go into a building in Tryriga, and I consider that just the most amazing functionality, frankly, in Tryriga, because I can go into a building and see everything about it. I can see any projects that have done. I can look at my space, my cost allocations. I can look at projects. I mean, it's amazing. Any contract associated with my facility. And if I'm managing a facility, I can open my building up in Tryriga and never leave there all day and get my work done. It's that single source of truth about everything real estate and facilities. And I think that's an amazing accomplishment versus point solutions that maybe there are a point solution that does something really well, but Tryriga is so tightly woven together as that integrated workplace management solution that it just, in my mind, makes a lot of sense. So, Tryriga has been around a long time. It goes back, 25 years or longer, maybe closer to 30 at this point. It goes back a long ways. Before it was even called Tryriga, it was actually had a couple of other names. And I mean, I go back 16 years with Tryriga, so I've been in it a while, and I'm not even one of the old hands, if you will. There's newer technologies out there, and there's newer ideas and stuff out there. But so why is Tryriga the better choice, even from that perspective?
Yeah, you're right. Tryriga has been around a long time, but that's because it's an enterprise solution that really meets the needs of the facility and real estate management professionals. It's proven technology that's evolved and been modernized and has been enhanced over the years to continue meeting those needs. The Tryriga application platform provides powerful configuration tools that provide the flexibility for the system to adapt to the needs of the customer's complex business processes. Newer solutions, especially some of those that are just starting out, might look great on the surface, but they often lack the depth of functionality and the industry expertise and the field testing that is needed to have a really robust global solution. While Tryriga has been around a while, it continues to be a recognized market leader. It was recently recognized in the IDC IWMS MarketScape for 2021 as definitely a market leader.
The thing about that, or the thing I heard that I find really interesting, is the word proven. Tryriga is a proven solution. It sets a standard. It follows best practices, and it's always evolving. It's not a dinosaur. It has something that is evolved based on what the users and the customers come back with, and that's really interesting. And I would add too, I think congratulations to the IBM team, because you recently won the IFMA award for using Tryriga in terms of workplace management and bringing people back to work. I think that the fact that IBM uses its own software solution to run its global space, to me, is a statement unto itself. So, 2022 is right around the corner. What kind of roadmap items do you see out there, Lisa?
Yeah, well, I feel like asking us what's on the roadmap is a bit of a trick question, because everybody knows that IBM Legal won't let us share specifics without a legal disclaimer. So for anyone listening to this, no making any purchasing decisions based on anything I'll share now, because obviously our release plans are always subject to change. But as we're looking ahead to the next year, we're definitely planning to continue to enhance our Tryriga application suite, to add in additional Tryriga components like building insights and indoor maps, and continuing to take advantage of the capabilities of Red Hat OpenShift to improve automation and provisioning of updates. We're also continuing to focus on workplace experience with significant enhancements to our room reservations and desk reservation app, expansion of our space planning capabilities, and enhancing more of our interfaces, along with supporting new lease accounting standards like GASB 87 for state and local government entities. We're also looking at expanding our use of our AI capabilities to take advantage of more of the data in Tryriga and to provide insights beyond space utilization and occupancy.
That's interesting. So just continuation of product improvement. And I think a lot of the things that are happening around, like with UX and all, are very important because the user interface is so nice in UX, and the mobile capabilities, it's really good. Now, I've always described Tryriga, and when I compare it to Maximo, as Tryriga is this 200-kilometer wide product, but it's 50 kilometers deep. It solves many, many problems across the entire real estate industry. And when I look at Maximo, and I see that as more 50 miles or 50 kilometers wide and 200 kilometers deep, it's a little narrower focus, but it really goes to great details. And at least I'll kind of wrap up with you here about that a little bit, because I know that Tryriga and Maximo have a relationship to each other as well.
Yeah, when it comes to real estate and facilities management, Tryriga and Maximo are definitely complementary solutions. And you'll often hear us talk about operations and maintenance with both of the products, but there's a key difference there. Tryriga is great for the operations and maintenance of the building assets. Think about things like the carpets, the furniture, the roof, the bathroom supplies, the HVAC. In some industries like corporate real estate or education, that might be all of the capabilities that you need. But then in many other industries, Maximo is needed where you've got larger or more expensive assets, or where there's mission critical assets like in a factory or a hospital, assets that need to be carefully monitored and maintained to keep them operational and reduce the maintenance costs. So that's where Maximo really shines, and I'll let Dave get into the specifics around Maximo.
Great segue to you, Dave. Thank you very much, Lisa, for the discussion on Tryriga. And Dave, I know Maximo is something you specialize in quite well. And Maximo is known throughout the world. It's been around a while. I mean, why is that? Why is Maximo such a renowned product?
Yeah, it has similar pedigree to Tryriga. You mentioned Tryriga being around for 30 years or so. Maximo is in the same boat, right? It's evolved over time. And why is it out there? Very similar enterprise application. The customers who use it, typically in asset intensive industries, use it to run their business. And so over that time, we've got customers in all these asset intensive industries around the globe that have, as the product has grown and they've grown their business, their dependency on Maximo has also grown. And one of the key things, and I think we do this with Tryriga as well, you kind of talked about it earlier, is we listen to the customers and try to incorporate their requirements into the evolution of the product. And that's been a key part of keeping Maximo in the forefront and as a leader in the market.
I think Maximo fascinates me because it's not just a generic product as much as you can get very industry specific. You can pick kind of variations. I'm not sure that's the right terminology for that, but tell me more about that.
Yeah. So, the core Maximo capability meets the needs of customers across lots of different industries. But in some segments, there are industry specific requirements, such as in the oil and gas space, or in utilities for the transmission and distribution support of the outside infrastructure, nuclear power, transportation. Each of these have unique capabilities that they need to be able to have functionality that supports those requirements. And so I mentioned that we've worked with customers over the years. So we work closely with customers in each of those industries, and we incorporate and build out the capabilities that they need. And have industry flavors for each of those industries. We're in the process of kind of expanding that. We've got some new industries that we're now starting to work with customers in, things like civil infrastructure, and that's really targeted at railways, roadways, bridges. And if you just follow the news, right, it's going to be a lot of investment in that. And so we're trying to capitalize on that and also meet the needs of those customers that, end up maintaining those types of assets.
Maximo is about, it's about assets. So that asset might be a building, it might be a bridge. I mean, it could be a Navy ship. I mean, there's so many different asset classes that are impacted by Maximo, and it is such a deep product. It's just really amazing what it can do. And, there's a lot of upstarts out there who want to try to say, well, we're better than Maximo, but I don't know. I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, we really, like I said, I think a key to staying ahead is really what I said, listen to customers and what they need. And a lot of that has driven us to develop not only the capabilities out of the box, but also, ease of integration, ease of configuration. And that really, as you mentioned, the way you maintain one type of asset is going to be different in another industry. Having the capabilities for our customers to kind of model Maximo after how they run their business has been a key differentiator for us, and continues to be.
You said that you're working on a couple of different flavors and maybe different industries for Maximo coming up. What else could you tell us about 2022, or what are things that you can say?
Yeah, a couple of things. So traditionally, the Maximo that I was just sharing with you is in what we call the enterprise asset management space. But over the past few years, we've started to expand the Maximo brand to get into asset performance management. So think of it more as the strategic side of asset management, really understanding the health of your fleet of assets. Where are they in their life cycle? Kind of scoring the health of those assets, and then enabling customers to make better decisions on whether they need to modify how they maintain them, or maybe start to plan for repair. So we're kind of moving from the tactical side of asset management into more of the strategic point. From a roadmap perspective, similar to what Lisa talked about with Tryriga, we now have launched a Maximo application suite where we're now bundling in all the capabilities into this single suite of offerings to be able to meet everything from the basic work management pieces to the more advanced strategic side of asset performance management. The other thing that we're addressing is, again, improved and modernized usability, and also introducing new technologies that are available as part of the suite. So things that let us leverage artificial intelligence, right, to kind of help accelerate how technicians in the field can perform their work by giving them more information through a mobile device, as a good example. We're also incorporating things like visual inspections. So many of our customers in different industries, whether it's manufacturing is probably a good example, where they can take images of the products coming off the line to detect whether the quality is what it needs to be. If not, then that might mean that a piece of machine has to be fixed. So being able to automate and help, accelerate identifying quality issues, which then could lead to repairs sooner rather than later. So we're pretty excited about that, having this suite approach and the introduction of new technologies.
Being more proactive instead of reactive, let's be proactive.
Exactly.
It's a great philosophy. And I think we're seeing both products move more that direction. And of course, we're seeing integration with AI. Like I know with Tryriga, we have Watson Assistant and things that are available to tie in. And these are technologies that are rapidly evolving. I think these are technologies that your bit players, if you will, out there can't begin to touch compared to what IBM can.
Yeah, and the fact, so yes, I didn't want to throw out the Watson name, but yes, same thing, right? So we'll have access in the Maximo application suite to the Watson Discovery, machine learning, and the assistant capabilities. And again, we'll bundling it in. So as part of the suite, customers will have access to that. And it's pretty, we're getting a lot of excited customers because of that.
So I have one more question for each of you. I'll start with Lisa. I'll kind of pick on you first with it, which is, hey, it's IBM Tryriga. We hear it's really expensive. It's difficult to implement. We can go out and buy 3-point solutions and get them in. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, so, Tryriga is an enterprise solution. It's enterprise software, and it's priced accordingly, and it's priced competitively. For the price, you're getting, that enterprise software backed by IBM's industry expertise and global support organization, and it's infused with IBM's technology, right? There are groups outside of the Tryriga team that are developing things like the AI and machine learning that we can then adapt and utilize within Tryriga that you wouldn't be able to do if you were a small point solution. And one of the things about Tryriga too is that it's highly configurable. So with that flexibility, sometimes customers get lured into excessive adaptation of the system into their existing processes, which can lead to expensive deployments. So, we recommend when people plan their deployments that they look at both, their current processes and the product capabilities to determine how to best use our tools, and then figure out where their processes could maybe be adapted to take advantage of those capabilities so that they don't get into a scenario where the overall cost of ownership is too high because they're highly configuring and customizing the software.
Yeah, that's a great explanation, actually. I think there's a lot of value, and especially you mentioned IBM's technology, and IBM sets records every year with the number of technology patents that they are able to get and things. It's just a statement on the technology the company is driving. And a couple of years from now, we'll have this conversation again, and we'll have Tryriga sitting on a quantum computer from IBM, cranking out a lot of things. So, Dave, the same question kind of over to you. Maximo is again, it's an industry leader, and but there is a price sometimes to pay for that. But there's also value. What is that value prop?
Yeah, the value is, it's very similar to what Lisa just shared with Tryriga, right? It is an enterprise solution. It's a proven solution. It can scale from small customers to multi-global, implementations with, thousands of users using the product. I think from a functional perspective, we've got a pretty significant investment in Maximo. And, when we talk to customers, they want to, as I said, they use it to run their business. They want something that's going to be around and that they can depend on, and they know IBM's going to stand behind it. So, that's a big differentiator for us. And, can just look historically, we've always evolved, continued to keep the product, current, added new capabilities, new technologies now. So we're pretty excited about that. From a licensing perspective, we've actually simplified our licensing when we introduced the application suite, so that, as I mentioned, we have all these additional expanded capabilities, but it's all sold as a single product. You pay for what you need. And if you want to start to use some of the newer capabilities, it's there for them to take advantage of. So we think that's going to be a big differentiator as well.
I think the application suite is actually interesting from that standpoint that, your functionality is there. You just decide what you need available. And it's more of a decision of how much do you want to bite off in a product? What's your scope need to look like? What are your requirements? It's not about deciding on licenses anymore. It's just about deciding on what do I want to accomplish with these products, and we'll make decisions from there. Exactly. I think that's a better approach.
Exactly. Yep. And we've done some things, like I said, offerings that we used to sell are now just bundled in. Things like mobile access, right? It's just part of the suite, no separate licensing for it. So, we did some things to really start to address that. So not only adding new capabilities, but just making it easier for customers and their end users to have access to what they need to perform their jobs.
Great. Well, guys, I really appreciate the time today. It was a really interesting discussion, and I wish IBM and you the best in 2022. I think it's going to be a really good year for the products and the company. And thanks for taking time to chat with me today.
You're very welcome. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.